I'm gonna call to order the City Council Environmental and Sustainability Subcommittee meeting. Present, we have Councilor Leora Malik, Councilor Mary Kay Peeney, and Councilor Brandon Ward. Now I'll turn it over to y'all.
Now it's 7:03 and I'm going to call the Framingham Sustainability Committee to order. We have President Aaron Ellsworth, Amy Polika. Oh, now I'm going to have to say everybody's last names. Larry Stute, Sam Doyle, Sean Bilodeau, Rachel Zaraf. And then on, what? Did I mess it up? Rachel, did I say your last name right?
It's there.
Sarah. Okay, good to know. And then on Zoom, we have Deb Berlin, Don Gross, and Donna Kramer Barrett, or Donna in the room. Yeah. All right. I see that we have no public participation in the room. Is there anybody out on Zoom?
There's nobody else on Zoom. So we thought we'd start off with some introductions because maybe some of us don't know each other and maybe some of you are newer to your committee and don't know other people on your committee. So I'd like to propose the prompt be your name and the favorite sustainability feature in your neighborhood or vicinity. Like it could be in your house, it could be in your street, it could be around the corner. Favorite environment sustainability feature, however you choose to understand or define that. So it's pretty broad, but like local to you. Does that make sense? All right. Anybody feel strongly about starting? Because otherwise I'd start there and go just like all the way around. Does that work?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Brandon Ward. This is my second term on the City Council, first on the Environmental Sustainability Subcommittee. I'm gonna have to go electrical aggregation because my bill is cheap.
Nice.
Hi everyone, Mary Kay Peeney, counselor from District 3. I'm midway through my 2.5-month term here. It's been a long day, but so I'm very new and new to obviously the environmental subcommittee, but not new to the environment. And my favorite thing, I think, would be Callahan State Park.
So Leora Malik, I live around the corner from Butterworth Park, but my favorite environmental feature in my neighborhood is the very large sugar maple tree in my backyard because we are currently in the midst of sugaring season. So it's like doubly my favorite.
Nice. All right, Aaron Ellsworth, I'm chair of the Sustainability Committee. Member of District 3, what up? And I'm gonna go real local inside my house. My favorite feature of my house that I'm renovating right now with a lot of cool sustainability things, but one of my favorite things, sort of dorky, but I put in one of those water bottle fillers. So I'm really excited about it. Wow. Yeah, it looks like it belongs in an airport, but it's, right next to the laundry room instead.
Amy Puwelka. I am Vice Chair of Sustainability Committee. And my favorite sustainability feature is that I know of 3 homes that have installed ground source heat pumps that are within a block of me. And the fact that I know them is cool too. So.
Hi, Larry Stowe, and my favorite sustainability feature is sitting down there.
It's not in your neighborhood.
Okay, our sustainability coordinator's office and the things that's gotten done.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Sam Doyle. It's my first sustainability committee tenure. My favorite sustainability feature in my house is my herb garden. Which I'm desperately trying to get off the ground. I have the itch to grow something green.
Sean Bilodeau. I've been on the sustainability committee for a little while, and my favorite thing around me would be probably Washakem.
My name's Rachel Zarif. I joined a few months ago as a youth member, and my favorite environmental feature would be like the plants in my backyard.
Sean, do you wanna?
Sure, yeah. My name's Sean. I'm the sustainability coordinator. And I'm actually gonna have to join in with Aaron. I recently got one of the sink water filter systems, which is so convenient. But I say besides that, the geothermal network, I'd say the defense.
I'll go next on here. My name's Donna Kramer Merritt, and I've been on the committee since its inception. And my favorite very local sustainability feature are the solar panels on my house that charge the electric car in my driveway.
Donna just,
Debbie, you wanna go? Yeah.
yeah, sure. Donna just took mine, so I'll give me a second. I'm Deb Berlin. My favorite local sustainability feature is the network geothermal.
All right, you're up, Dawn.
My favorite sustainability feature is making buildings more energy efficient.
Awesome.
All right, yeah, so the next topic on our agenda is to turn things over to Sean to give us a sustainability coordinator update.
Sure, thank you.
Wait,
So-
do you have a microphone?
I was gonna say.
Oh, yeah, you know
people
what, now that someone's not sitting here, I will wait.
Y'all online, can you give us a thumbs up when Sean starts?
Can you guys hear me okay? Awesome, thank you. So yeah, I'm gonna run through every meeting we go through some of the new updates from existing programs, new things that come out, but I think, given that this is a joint committee meeting, it's been a while since connected with the city council subcommittee, I'll just maybe go over some of the stuff that we talked about in recent meetings as well.
Can I just say one thing just before, if you don't mind? What would be helpful moving forward, I imagine we will be doing this more often, or, having you in, is having the background material available on, just so that I can, be on a plane. Look at this first, so I'm prepared to ask questions. That would be helpful, because unless I'm missing something, I don't see the background material.
Nope, yeah, no.
And let me fill this, because this is something that Sean and I talked about as well, and I kind of anticipated we might have some questions, because we kind of acknowledged we didn't know where people were coming in from a baseline.
Yeah.
So if you are like, oh, hey, I don't know much about what we're doing with the climate action plan, I'd love to take that as an opportunity in maybe our next session or our next joint session, right? To say, let's figure out where we want to spend more time digging into some of those details. But I think point taken that we will make sure we at least get like the subset of materials. I think a lot of it is on the city website already as well. But yes, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's just, I want to just make sure we're all on this even playing field, and especially for the public, for what they're referring to. But anyway, sorry, Sean, to interrupt. I just wanted to make sure I'm not missing something. So all yours, sorry.
Absolutely, no, thank you. So I think I'll just kind of start with some updates on community outreach initiatives. So firstly, you may have heard about the Home Modernization Navigator Program. There was a letter that was sent out to pretty much every household in Framingham. That's a partnership we have with the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center to help owners and occupants of 1 to 4 unit buildings improve the energy efficiency and of their homes, and also adopt clean energy measures. So I think it's a really awesome resource, given that there's so many different programs that are available out there, and sometimes like going down the pathway of Mass Save is only going to get you some of that. And so we're really excited that that's a resource that's available. We also had a workshop earlier this week on Monday, where people could come learn about the program. It was an opportunity to sign up for energy bill checkups, which is something we've been offering for a while as well. But it kind of also builds in the next steps. Okay, you've done your energy bill checkup. Let's get you on a plan for your home. Like, what are the things you're interested in? What can we work with you on? Also, just wanted to highlight, we are currently working on our multi-community public art project called A Home for Future Generations. So this is a Mass Save funded art project that's going to result in the development of kind of the cutaway of a home. It's going to be located right near Center Common, and it's going to feature art from the community. So we've been hosting some events. For instance, there was one event at the Danforth Art Museum on February 20th with the students there. We just had an event at the Callahan Center today for residents there to be able to paint some designs on shingles that will be covering the outside of the building. And the idea is really about like drawing attention to things that you can do in your home to improve efficiency, but then also having this kind of community connection that like our individual actions all together are supporting our community as a whole. So really, excited to continue that, and we expect in April that that's gonna be, you're gonna start seeing walls go up there, so.
Go ahead.
Sean, you're citing a couple of events. I'm just curious, with the events you've cited, the home modernization navigator workshop, et cetera, what's attendance looking like?
Yes, good question. So with the home modernization navigator, I think we had about like 15 people in attendance at that workshop. It was really good. I think and from what I've heard from other communities, so there's Framingham is one of, I think, like 5 or 6 communities that are in the Mass CEC program. I think for like languages like Spanish and Portuguese, it's a little bit tougher. They've been seeing lower turnout. But we also have been doing webinars that are recorded. They're going to be online. They're not up yet, and I'm working with the team there to get them on. But I think in the initial English webinar, we had like 40 or 50 people. So much higher turnout there. And then I'll say in addition to that, there's a lot of people that got the letter, and to make sure it wasn't a scam, they're calling the office. That was one of the things that we also wanted to happen, so that, that's the time you hear from residents, hey, I'm paying a lot for my energy bill. And then the first question is always, look on the back of your bill, what does your supply say? And of course, it's always a third-party supply company. And literally, there's one resident that was paying 25 cents per kilowatt hour just for supply. They had an over like $1,500 bill. So great way to like intervene, get them to do an energy bill checkup and then start going kind of through that rest of the process to see what else they can do. But sorry, yeah. So I think in general, it's turnouts have been a little bit challenging. For instance, at the Callahan Center today, we had a couple people to start the event. And then bingo ended, and then we were able to get some other people off, and then do some more painting. So that was exciting. But yeah, it's sometimes hard to predict. So moving on. So this has been kind of a recurring discussion topic. In addition to Earth Day, we also have the Framingham Public Schools Cooler Communities Fair coming up, which is really exciting. It's going to be on May 30th, I believe, from 10 to 12. And working with the school team on that. We are seeking participation to table there, including from the Framingham Sustainability Committee, and also love to invite the City Council Subcommittee if you guys would like to have a table. I think we're working right now on some other collaborations. I'm going to be reaching out to Framingham State University. They tabled at one of the prior ones, and then in addition, given the city's new composting program, thanks to many of the people in this room, I've reached out to Black Earth, and we're talking about some collaboration opportunities for the event as well. And so that was just some of the stuff from community engagement. I was going to move on to updates on the geothermal pilot and the expansion.
Can I ask you a question first?
Oh, yes, of course, sorry.
Are we considering participating in Science on State Street?
That's a good question, I think.
Larry, when you say we, do you mean is Sean or are we as a committee?
I meant Sean or the city, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we can, so I booked a table for personally myself, and I know that you guys had talked about booking a table for the committee at Earth Day.
I don't see a way that we can make it work with Earth Day happening at the exact same time.
I might be able to do what we did the one year where I left early and then went to Science on State Street for part of it, but I think right now I was planning primarily on Earth Day. So, but I'm definitely open to talking about that as well.
Okay, thank you.
No, Sean, listen, when you figure out how you can be in 2 places at one time, let me know.
I think that was the year we did 3, because we had Earth Day, because it was a rain date. Then we had Science on State Street and Cooler Communities Fair.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I think actually, yeah, I did. It was all 3, but we had committee members. It was very strategic. We had people ready to go when people needed to leave. So it's really good, although it's exhausting. Yeah, thank you. So moving on to the geothermal network expansion. So just to highlight, the geothermal pilot taking place in Framingham is now largely complete. I think there's a little bit of work they're doing for a couple residences, but otherwise, ongoing monitoring of the program is underway. Meanwhile, while that's happening, we're working on phase 2 of, expanding this system through a DOE grant in partnership with a nonprofit called HEAT and also with Eversource. So this expansion is going to take the system westward, and it's going to cover another neighborhood off of essentially going down Flag Drive, then Warren Road, and then it's going to loop in some residences more of the Framingham Housing Authority. So pretty much with this expansion, all of Rose Kennedy Lane is going to be in some way tied into the geothermal network. And then in addition, we only did a portion of the Farley administration, the school administration building the first time around. The idea is for phase 2 to tie in the rest of the building. So we'll have a fully, geo building for heating and cooling. Just as an update as to where things stand on there. So we are currently working on, kind of scheduling, meeting with departments, meeting with the FHA. There's also a study that we're going to be doing with the National Guard, who wanted to be on the first loop, but just based on timing, it was really challenging to get all the pieces to fit together. So we made sure in this opportunity to have an element of that would help deal, the National Guard determine how they could, join, and what that would look like for them. I think as it stands now, construction is probably going to be between the end of this year, like really far out the end of this year, to October 2027, and that includes like right-of-way work, building conversions, like everything involved with the project. And so, of course, as we continue moving forward, I'm happy to, provide regular updates on where that's going. Also, I'll just highlight there, community canvassing is probably going to start soon for residences in the neighborhood, so they'll start hearing that, things might be coming their way, to sign on letters of interest, things like that. I'm gonna try to go a little bit faster because I know we have a lot to talk about. So, also other updates, on-street charging. We're moving forward with 2 sites to install on-street charging stations, which include Butterworth Park and Lincoln Street, right next to the public library. Currently reviewing these with agreements with legal, and we're also before Traffic Commission to get approval for the Lincoln Street site. We've added some electric vehicles to the fleet for our inspectional services and health department, which we're really excited about. Municipal aggregation, I think you had mentioned the municipal aggregation. I know we're going to have a 1-year update on that soon, so really excited about that. Currently, our contract is until March 2027, and we're going to start preparing to go out for a second contract. Obviously, things are really challenging right now with energy markets, so we're going to try to keep our ears on that as close as we can. And then I'll just add a couple other things. We're doing some significant fleet planning, both on the municipal side. So we did a study in 2019 that was pretty high level. We're working with Eversource to do like a larger fleet study that will set, it's going to be longer term and kind of set expectations for like when we could transition not just light duty vehicles, but some of the medium and heavy duty vehicles that are a little bit more process specific, like trying to find solutions for those can be a little bit trickier. We're also doing school bus electrification planning through it's a Mass CC Acts school bus program. And so that will look at long-term, what is it going to take to transition that fleet to electric, including the infrastructure at the current bus depot.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah, fair. What, when you're looking at the electrification of the fleet, not the school buses, but just the municipal fleet, are you considering anything like the Zipcar sort of model that Boston has, where city employees sign out so that not everybody has a vehicle, and that not only are they electric, but we have fewer, and so we're not, in cars all the time?
Yeah, I don't know that we've had discussions about it yet. I think, it's a great point. I think one of the challenges is so far vehicles that we've gotten, like the EVs we've purchased, a lot of them have been for like around City Hall. I think probably longer term, like that's something we can look at. Like as of now, currently in total, we have about 10 EVs in the municipal fleet.
Mhm.
I think like up until the last couple of fiscal years, it was like 2. So we made some significant progress in the last couple of years, but that's a good point. I think it's something that we can definitely look at.
Yeah.
But we right now we go off of we have a policy of like kind of electric first. As we look at vehicles, like, is it easy to make this vehicle electric? Are there any reasons why, based on its usage, that it couldn't be electric? And if so, that's when we would look at kind of like the alternatives. But
Yeah, I would really, Boston's had it for a while, and I believe Cambridge does as well. I think it would be something that would be something to look into for financial reasons and just to get EVs faster too. Thank you.
I think there was one other thing listed on the agenda, so I'll just quickly, it's the decarbonization roadmap for facilities. That's a final component of climate leaders eligibility. And so one of the other components was adopting the specialized code. So, it's really great that that has been completed. That's in progress right now, completed the schools and most municipal facilities in terms of, it's just like a huge data collection process. So we're working on completing that spreadsheet. And then we have a vendor through the Department of Energy Resources who's going to help us develop this plan. And then once it's, ready for review, coming back to the sustainability committee and of course, eventually to the council as well, so. I think that's.
And can you just remind us what being in the climate leaders program gets us? What the
Yes.
advantage is?
Yeah, so being in climate leaders would enable us to access enhanced funding. Right now, in green communities, a lot of the funding is dedicated for like energy efficiency. Climate leaders is more focused on emissions reductions, and so it opens up in terms of the types of projects you can fund. So for example, unless up until recently, because there was a recent announcement about green communities that I'm going to be reviewing, but typically you can't fund like clean, like renewable energy projects through green communities. It's energy efficiency focused, whereas climate leaders, you can fund like solar projects through that. So there's like much wider array, and the funding pool is much more significant. So versus like for communities like us, I have to see what the new cap is, but it's around like 100,000, depending on how much money you've already received. Climate leaders, it's over like, $1 million. So it's a lot more funding to do projects.
Any questions for Sean?
If I can just say, I want to thank you for that suggestion. I apologize too. I realize now, especially as I'm going through the list, I'm like, this is a lot of information. So I think definitely moving forward, I'll make sure to have, this listed out. So thank you for that.
Just want to support you, Sean.
No, appreciate that.
All right. So the next topic we have is a goal presentation, and I will set the stage. So when Leora and I were talking and planning this meeting, we thought it would be really great to get everyone grounded in our goals. And then obviously with that has a purpose. A lot of our goals have a really good tie-in with city council in that we will likely need some support, possibly be looking at various things that they can help do for us and push through various ordinances or legislator or whatever we might have. And so I did take our goals that we have in a very nice Word doc and put it into a PowerPoint so we can properly walk through them. So what I'd like to do is walk through our goals one by one. I don't think everyone wants to listen to me talk all night. So what I will do is as we move through the goals, for the ones that we have names attached already, I'll ask one of you to just spend a little bit of time talking about it. After we get through our goals presentation, we will have time to actually discuss the goals and the priorities with our city council friends as well, and give them an opportunity to ask questions and figure out how we can partner on things going forward. But obviously it's an open forum, so feel free to dive in at any point if you have questions. And with that, I think I probably need to be a co-host in order to share my screen. I wasn't thinking about that up front. And can everyone see this? Let's scroll down. How does this look? Okay, mostly readable. Great. So goal number one, and I think we can probably skim over goals 1 and 2 pretty quickly because they tie into some of the updates that Sean just gave. So I'll just read these off. But the first one is to get climate leaders designation. So that's the program that Sean was just talking about. There are 2 big things that we had kind of going into this year that we had to do, which was pass the opt-in specialized code, which you all know passed. So we're really excited about that. And so the last hurdle is the decarbonization roadmap that Sean just talked about. So right now, no action really needed from the committees, but at some point we do expect that we will need to get buy-in from city council, probably likely go to a vote to get that support. And so we want to make sure that you all stay close and aware, and we'll pull you in when we get a little bit closer as well to figure out what the right timing is to bring it in front of council.
And just for timing perspective, I believe the deadline for application is in June at some point, so this would be coming up, April or May,
So
right?
by
Sean?
June, we would have to vote.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I believe the deadline is June 30th.
What is the actual vote on? What would the vote be?
In terms of actual language, that's a good question. I'll double check that. But basically, you would be supporting the decarbonization plan. It'd be like kind of like the buy-in of the council that they're acknowledging this plan and they're adopting it in essence. The plan is very high level. It's just talking, it's giving kind of a timeline of like how you'd want to approach electrification of facilities, certain types of like clean energy projects. It's not a commitment that like the projects like you're approving all the individual things that could happen in the plan, but just it's more so kind of the goal of where we would be headed.
What's the timeline for the plan?
Like in terms of what it covers.
Yeah, for how long do you have to like? For the plan, it's not a 5-year decarb plan, it's a 25-year or.
Yeah. I will double check. We're still in the data collection, and when we were first signing, for the support from DOER, that information was there, but I will, double check and I can confirm that.
Part of the reason I asked is, without having seen it, it's tough to know, but I don't think this is the kind of thing that would like just fly through the council. So people are gonna wanna consider it and talk about it, so. Okay.
And just to clarify, do we need to vote to become climate leaders in the climate leaders program? Or once we check all the boxes, then we're automatically in?
I think we would just apply once we've met the requirements. I don't believe that in itself requires a vote for us to apply for that.
Okay.
That would flag me though.
How many communities have qualified at this point?
Last time I checked, it was around, like, who have been designated. I believe it was around 55, that may have gone up recently. I can check the map to see if it has. But yeah, that was my last time I looked at it.
All right. The next one is climate action plan support. So again, this is something that Sean is working on within the city. But this committee is ready to support him whenever there is an action for us to take. I suspect most of it's going to come down to just educating the public and sharing good things about what's in that. Typically we've attended all of the presentations that he's had, but really it's a city-run initiative and we just are in standby.
Do you have any sense of when that will be ready?
Yeah, so we're targeting, in addition to the plan, we're trying to develop a dashboard, like an online dashboard that will be available when that comes out. I'm trying to get a draft ready for March 23rd. And we'd love to shoot for Earth Day. I don't know, we ended up, part of the reason why this has been such a long process, we did a rewrite of it. We had some assistance to develop a version 1. I don't think we were really happy with where that went. It ended up being this long text heavy plan and we wanted something that was more engaging. So we started reworking it, and that's part of bringing in a dashboard. So it's not something that's going to sit on the shelf. You can see as status updates on certain measures. But yeah, so I'm hoping we'll have something that especially at the next sustainability committee, we could start reviewing. And actually a lot of them at prior meetings, we have reviewed the actions too that we have in the plan, but a lot of the stuff around it is still being kind of worked on.
Okay. One of the reasons why I asked, because side fact, and can't wait to read it and see it. But if you're gonna come in front of the council, like we were just talking about the decarbonization roadmap, I think it would behoove you to have your climate action plan in a ready to talk about. Because that will then show that this is part of the wider, this is not, randomly selected, throwing spaghetti at the wall, that this is actually part of a wider plan that the city is working through. It will give it more, so keep us in the loop and anything we could do, obviously. But I think that would really help you moving forward.
Right. Goal 3, of course, I'm lead, so I will keep talking. Green plus education, so this is really just around educating the residents about our Green Plus municipal aggregation plan. I mean, this is really just around the municipal aggregation in general. In fact, it was probably the #1 topic that came up last year at the Earth Day Festival with the community, so we know it's really important to the community. Obviously, with the 1-year anniversary coming up, we want to look for opportunities to continue to provide education about that. So, in addition to doing, various talks about it in just community things like when we're at the Earth Day Festival, when we're table sitting at the cooler communities, we're also going to pursue kicking up our library information sessions that we used to host. We haven't done some probably in over a year now, but we will partner with the library to do little info sessions where we pick various topics that we think will be something that gets the community excited about, right? We've had varying levels of attendance, but we always get a couple people at least, and I think this is a topic that has been pretty well received in the community once people understood what it was about. And so we'll continue to do some education around that, and I know there's supposed to be a big article coming out soon, so excited to see that. Hopefully there's some quotes from some people in this room in the article.
Do you have them? Sorry, I have a lot of questions, just I like to learn. But do you have any sense of how many people opted out?
Sean gets those stats.
Yes, and maybe what I can do is prepare, especially even before a next meeting, I can prepare kind of like. Just here are the basic stats of like the program and everything.
Yeah,
That's helpful.
That would be helpful, just if we can identify how we can start talking about it more, if you break that down, that would be.
And I'll throw onto that request, Sean. I think what I would love to see too is not just who opted out, but the different tiers as well, so we can kind of see the spread of what people are opted into.
Absolutely.
All right, goal 4, Dawn. This one's all you, if you want to talk a little bit about this one.
Well, I wasn't ready for that one. I think what we've talked about in the committee is being able to promote integrated design strategies for municipal projects, which is, bringing life cycle assessment and other sustainable strategies into the planning of municipal buildings, especially in school construction, which I'm particularly interested in, and just trying to lead the discussion into an area of really, bringing the discussion forward in terms of sustainability and how we design buildings that way.
I have a question actually on that. I don't know if it's for Don or for Sean. But thinking about the specialized code and new projects that are going to be coming forward, how do we ensure that they're compliant after, I believe what we voted when goes into effect July 1? So, starting July 2, how does that, is that all on the building inspector? Does the planning board get guidance or instruction?
I'm sorry, I kind of spoke before. Don, I don't know if you wanted to. I'm happy to jump in, but
I think that will be on the building department
yeah,
to enforce those code requirements.
that's what I would, yeah, so I think we're in that concurrency period now where I think especially over the next couple months, I'm gonna be working on getting some material, at the office there, so that just to prepare, I guess.
I think I got a sneak preview yet. Amy or Larry, you want to take the next one? Amy's got it right in front of her.
I can take it because I can read it, Larry. So there's a bit of a specialization or an application of the 4th goal, which is really to look at net zero school buildings. So in particular, as we are looking at exploring either a school renovation or potentially a new school building, being sure that we are serving as a resource for the school building committee to help them understand integrated design standards and the fact that at the very start of the project, when you just begin conceptually talking about it, is time to bring this conversation in. It's not after there's a design, because you will lose many of the cost savings if you do not design from the start. And we all want to see lower costs rather than additional costs. So that is the goal here, and we have a couple of specific action items. Like I mentioned, inviting the school building committee chair as a first step, just to talk about concept of integrated design standards.
And they've already chosen an architect.
Yep.
All right. Community engagement, I can talk about this quickly. So really, this is something that we're all part of, right? Because this is happening on a day-to-day basis when we're talking to members of our community, when we're representing the committee out in public. And so I know we mentioned them all before, but I'll mention them again. The Earth Day Festival is our biggest event of the year. Obviously, it's where we see the most foot traffic. Cooler Communities, it's a little bit more geared towards family and students because it's a student-run event. And so we can have an opportunity to talk to parents in the community. And then the library series to try to reach out to various people and hopefully bring them in to present. Sometimes we bring in guest speakers as well. And in addition to the library series, and Larry, I'm queuing you up, but we've occasionally had the opportunity to use the library bulletin board. So in the main library right up the street, they have a bulletin board when you first walk in, and it's tough to get real estate, but every once in a while they offer us a couple of weeks so that we can plan a presentation. And I believe we've been given the opportunity to possibly have some of that space in April.
From the middle of April to the end of April, we have the glass display case at the front of the library. And to expound on Earth Day and various things. This year, my artist, that must be my wife, has done a timeline on environmental activities. So it'll be not only visually pleasing, it's very educational and dealing with a lot of the timelines of the environmental movement in the United States, starting with Rachel Carson. And I would like the Sustainability Committee to allow us to put their name as one of the organizations that people can reach out to get involved. Can I make that a motion, Madam Chair?
Okay.
I move that the Sustainability Committee cooperate on the environmental display at the Framingham Library.
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion? Okay, we are going to do a roll call vote. And I usually go in order of names on the agenda that I'm not looking at right now. So we're just gonna go in the room. So Erin, yes. Amy,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Sam,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yep.
Donna.
Yes.
All right, Larry, you have our support. We would love to participate, and let us know too if you need us to contribute anything or help in any way in getting that put up. I know it's quite a bit of work to do.
To be exact with how this will happen is there is a bit.ly and a QR code that will take people to the various organizations, and this is what it looked like last year. So that they can easily get to the different organizations that are working on environmental issues in Framingham.
Any other comment on community engagement? This one, I don't think we had a leader yet, but if anybody wants to talk to it. I realize now I'm probably being unfair because it's really tiny on the screen in the room. Amy and I are the only ones with laptops. So
I think Donna or Deb.
Donna or Deb, you want to take this one?
Maybe give us a Zoom click.
Oh, like zoom in? Yeah, that's a really good idea.
What do you want this read out loud? What do you
Yeah,
want?
summarize it.
Yeah.
So it says increase presence and collaboration with municipal departments, committees, and my screen got cut off here, and that's all.
It's me.
Which we're doing tonight, which is really great. So we're looking to hold more joint meetings with partner groups and boards and committees and attend other committee meetings and have more collaborative relationships so that we are working, we're all working towards the same goals. And so working together, we can go farther. So that's our plan.
Sounds good.
So I actually think I'm remembering now why we didn't put a lead on this one specifically is because it's something that we would rather this whole committee partner with and really figure out how we have a more active presence. I think it's one of the things we've recognized that we haven't always been great about is forging relationships with a lot of the other committees and boards here in Framingham. And those relationships are invaluable. So I'm glad we can make tonight work, but this is hopefully just the beginning. And there's a lot of other people that we would love to partner with. If there's somebody that you think we should partner with that you don't see on this list, let us know, because we are always happy to bring people in and have an opportunity to learn about how we can help them, how we can educate them, what we can do to just advance all the things.
I will share that we're planning at our April 8th meeting to invite or to touch base with a lot of these, not all, but a lot of these groups, just to, again, as we're doing assessment of what is happening and what people are thinking about. So
amazing. So we probably will look maybe to have at least one member from our committee just sit in as a member of the public, but to learn
Great.
more. At least that was April 8th.
April 8th at 8 o'clock.
That's my bedtime.
Well, luckily you have a whole committee, folks.
All right, we'll figure it out. Thank you. All right, Goalie, I'll keep reading them. I won't put anyone on the spot, you guys. I'll spare you all. Okay, plastic reduction research. So this is something we've talked about every single year. Obviously, the plastic bag ban has been huge in Framingham, but we want to look for other opportunities to possibly reduce plastic. One of the big topics that often comes up is around things like takeout containers and what that looks like. And so we want to just do some research to understand what other cities have done, where things have been successful, what we might be able to glean from that to learn to try to bring to Framingham. I think the small steps tend to work better. So the more that we can do to kind of like move towards more of a plastic-free world. And so this is more of a discovery than necessarily taking action, though hopefully we'll have some more concrete action plans coming out of that as well.
Can I ask a question? Have you considered styrofoam as well?
It has been a hot topic. Yes.
Oh.
In fact, I looked at styrofoam as I started reading this because yes, the styrofoam is obviously, we know, very problematic and very limited in its ability to be recycled, and so people just don't. And so that is something we wanted to look at. It picked up a lot of traction with the committee, I think about 2 years ago, and we never really got anywhere with it. I think like step one is just even understanding how prevalent it is, like who's using styrofoam, and then trying to put some policy around it. Would love to get a sense of like, do we think it would be received well by the community? And I mean, putting those kinds of bans in place can be difficult.
Right, which is something I wanted to talk about after you get through your list. But I just was wondering where styrofoam was on your radar.
It's on our radar. We don't like it.
Yeah, I think I got styrofoam from someone recently and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
so.
And honestly, there's nothing good about styrofoam, right? When you do get it and then it breaks off into those like little balls that are stand playing,
Right.
like there's nothing redeeming about it. But yeah, we have talked about it. We would love to see it eliminated from this. Also practical that it takes time to get the right level of support.
Right.
Now I'm wondering, I should have reviewed the list ahead of time. I don't think it's separated on here, but maybe I'll surprise myself. No, it's not. I was, okay. But the next one is another hot topic. Larry, I'm gonna let you talk about this one. I know you don't necessarily need to see the screen in order to be able to speak to it. Goal 9, artificial turf ban ordinance.
I'll start it out with my granddaughter plays soccer. She plays up in the Westford area. They play on artificial turf one day last summer. It was 86 degrees in the air, 92 in the grass, and 136 on the playing field.
Oh my gosh.
On top of that, you have ground up tires as the main dispersant in there, and they are toxic in themselves, and you have required to deal with them appropriately. I've been working with some people in Carmen Gentile's office on a ban, a statewide ban for municipal and preventing, preventing municipalities from signing contracts to put down more artificial turf. I was watching on the news today, the Red Sox are putting down their turf. So when it comes to talking about people playing on it, there's nothing like natural grass, to be honest with you. On top of that, besides the issues of leaching potential PFAS and other problems, the injury rate on artificial turf is higher than on natural grass. So I would like to see, I've reached out some people to see if we can get a template to bring to this, back to the Sustainability County and to this city council itself to see whether we can push that forward as a health issue for one thing. And the other thing is they're virtually impossible to recycle this. It's a multiple different materials and the South Newton pulled theirs up and it sat on their property for over a year while they tried to figure out what to do with it because nobody would take it. So it does wear out and you have to replace it, and those numbers are usually not attributed to the rest of the cost of artificial turf.
Larry, have you spoken to anybody in the sports community in Framingham about this?
I have not. I talked to the VPU at one point about Mary Dennison,
Right.
but that was a little too far down the road. What I would like to do, and I have some people working on this or I'm working with, is to get some kind of template to feel what is been done in our communities and in our state. So I have some idea of what it is we can bring forward to our community that has substantial backing from other communities' experiences.
Yeah, I just would like to, part of the research of this is talking to the Framingham Soccer to try to get their mindset on it, where their stance is, and if they could be supportive as well. I think that would be beneficial.
Yep, I just think the only difference is what the flow chart is, because I agree with you entirely, that needs to be discussed. So it's simply how you approach it first.
Right, and we can certainly talk about it, but it just seems that it would just behoove to just get the sports people on here, because there is this, when it rains, our very wet springs, then the kids can't play on their fields, and then they go to other towns that have the turf fields, and so there's that argument for turf and all that.
I've been to enough towns around here because my granddaughter and my grandsons play soccer. And I would tell you, there is a very definite quality to the play of soccer on a field of grass compared to a field of turf.
100%. I'm not arguing. I'm just.
No.
That's the other argument. Yeah. That'd be good.
Okay, soldier on. Sean, I know that this is your baby, so I'm gonna have you talk about tree preservation ordinance.
Sure, this is something that's had a lot of enthusiasm in Framingham, but we don't really have a tree ordinance. What we do have is a tree warden that offers us some protection from certain things, but our main focus is safety, really. So it's not really like preservation of trees on sites that might get cut down. So we don't really have anything in place to say, take down a tree that's been someone in the neighborhood forever and everyone in the neighborhood loves it, right? But the person who gets the property wants to just do something different, and there's no way to keep, to get everyone's opinion on that to make sure that the right decision's made on it. So that's what tree preservation ordinance would hopefully do. Would set some guidelines for how we can go through a system to make sure that it gets reviewed and then that everyone's on the same page and agrees on what should happen with certain trees and things like that. So I've done some research on it a couple of years ago, and then I started the DOER offers a template to follow. And they've also suggested other cities to look at, such as Newton, comparable to do that. So I'm in the stage of doing that, but there is enthusiasm for it, so that's going for it. So that's it.
It's a great idea.
I
love it.
All right, goal 11, yard waste facilities. So I think we've mostly sort of recognized that there's might not be a ton that we need to do here, but we want to stay engaged. So I know, Larry, we've got you down as lead here. You want to say anything about this? And obviously this is a multi-year thing to tackle anyways, but.
I know that the state is going to make us alter what we do with our yard waste, and it's going to make us alter what we're doing with our solid waste recycling as well. I have not been able to nail down exactly what it is they're asking or their timelines, to be honest with you.
Larry, are you looking at this as also, or have you thought about this, the capping of the old landfill? That's where that is, the old landfill wasn't capped correctly and it needs to be recapped.
Well, then if we cap that facility, then it's a brownfield and there's a whole bunch of regulations and opportunities to deal with the brownfield.
Right.
No.
It just seems like those two things are kind of, because the yard waste has to move. But I know that this is a big issue for Councilor Stefanini, is in his district as well, but is taking care of the old landfill. So which is on that location.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of this will be determined by the state, what they want us to do. And I have not seen an explicit statement from the state yet on the issue.
Okay.
As someone who's not really understanding what we're talking about, can you give us like the 2-minute summary of what this is?
Dudley's Road?
I'm familiar with the yard waste facility, but it's shutting down.
Yeah, they're going to shut that down.
Can you give like a quick summary of what's going on?
That's what I'm saying. I have not been able to find the exact statements that the state, what they want from us. If you go on the internet and look for it, I have not seen anything that stipulates exactly what it is they expect. But I assume this because that yard waste area is leaching materials into the farm pond that needs to be stopped.
Yeah, I think Amy's got.
Landfill, this wasn't capped, correct?
So the big picture that we have heard in various contexts is that we do have that landfill, it wasn't properly capped, the state is unhappy with us.
Yes.
The question is, where do we move that yard waste to? An associated question is, should we pull in any sort of municipal composting facility? Which is a different land issue question. The land issue is the biggest piece, like where? And then the fact that the solid waste site needs something done. I'm also unclear exactly what, something to do with shutting down the incinerator. That DEP was maybe not, is not happy with. The timeline, I think, is unclear, but there's a lot of these interrelated questions that are going on. And I think it's something that our DPW is, they're talking about, they're working through. It's a bigger issue than our committee. But we just would like to stay in the loop since it impacts a lot of the areas that we work on, and contribute if we can.
The issue is just the location, the proximity to farm pond, and that it sits on the hospital.
It's a space constraint in the city for where we move.
In terms of the recycling center, I don't know about the incinerator. The issue is the fact that we have trucks that you come and you take your trash and you put it into the back of a trash compactor. That is not allowed. That's the violation of the recycling center. So we are getting 2 in-ground compactors at the recycling center this spring or summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what Larry was saying too. It's hard to find concrete information. You just pick up things at
Bob
different meetings.
told us,
So there you go, Bob.
recently.
Yeah. And you have to go to enough meetings to really get the picture.
And there is something about the incinerator too. I feel like there was something in the capital
Yes.
improvement plan.
Something there.
Yeah.
All right, we're down to the last two, so, composting program growth, obviously, we had the composting program kick off, within the city. The composting task force, which I know several people in this room were members of, was officially disbanded, but we want to make sure that the work there doesn't end, so just continuing to use this body as an opportunity to promote, more things. We're looking at, is there a way to tie some of it into our table at Earth Day as well, to see can we promote it there? I'm gonna drop Darren a note to see if we can even like fast track people getting bins, if there's a way to just send them straight from our table down to the center and pick it up, so
He's planning on bringing
Oh,
bins
he
to
is.
Earth Day last I talked to him.
amazing. I'll reach out to him too to see if maybe if we can get a bin at our table. But the more we can find ways to put bins around and just get people excited about them, talking about them, I think we'll continue to see good growth with the program. And then last one, Amy, I'm gonna have you cover, because I know this is a new one that came up in our last meeting when I was not here, so this one's still drafting in progress. I'll be happy with this.
Yes, the goal here is to support the appointment of a chief climate officer that was passed in our city. Thank you, charter. It's a position that was passed in the city charter, and so this is the first budget year where we've been able to consider adding this position as required. It is a new position, so we know we have to go through the hiring process. And it's really important to us to support this position and this person, and to make sure that they that there is salary available for them so that this position can be filled. So that we think this could make a big difference in terms of collaboration within the city. Sorry, that came up. Not that there isn't collaboration now. Sean does a great job. He's within the facilities department. So at this position, in contrast, would be with the mayor, taking maybe a more strategic look. The ideal would be that this position would be in addition to the current facilities department, maintaining that position as well. Because there's a lot of the work just on grants management, inspection, like taking people out to do grant inspections, a lot of the day-to-day work that tends to take priority over some of the long-range strategic planning that we had thought for this position. Acknowledging it's a tough budget year, as many are, but this one's particularly bad. We're just trying to figure out how these goals can be met. And we welcome any feedback from city council, from your subcommittee on, whether you think these are supportable goals. How we could offer support at the city council as a sustainability committee. And what would be and what's the right word? Beneficial. What would be beneficial from us? Yeah, there.
When the ordinance was filed to make the Sustainability Committee, there was a second body to be produced. That body was supposed to be supervisory and collaborative with many different departments. That was never done. So we've done a good job of dealing with one side of the ordinance, but with the other side of that original ordinance that was completely ignored for various and sundry reasons. So this charter office would actually be able to function to complete the original ordinance and what it was intended to accomplish.
All right, so that is the end of our goal list. We'd love to open it up in no particular order. If there is a topic that is near and dear to your heart, or areas where you think you all can lean in, let us know. I think some of the most obvious ones are going to be ordinance, talking about how we get decarbonization roadmap through, talking about the climate plan. I think from a sequencing perspective, we're probably going to want to get the climate action plan and decarbonization step first. But it would be good to figure out how we could partner on the ordinances, and then if there's a lot of passion around plastic bans, styrofoam bans, we will certainly look to you to help us set some of those priorities or sequencing as well. And realistically, like, check us on, like, where do you think we need to spend more time? Sometimes things go through easily, sometimes they don't. I mean, I think when the plastic ban went through, right, it's back when it was a town, right? So that was a whole different world. But we always like to start with this committee to figure out how we're gonna get the votes, so. Yeah, I guess I'll so we can see everything a little more.
I think we can go ahead up to
Who's
conversation.
Deb?
Sorry.
Oh, did we?
Oh, she's rejoining.
Oh, she's there, she just didn't have her camera on,
Oh.
so she comes off this screen.
Yeah, let's open it up to conversation.
So one of the questions I have, is how did you come to these 13 goals? Like, what was your process? Just to get an idea of.
Great question. I mean, this goes back many months, right, through various iterations of our annual letter of recommendations that we send to the mayor, and kind of doing a look back of like where we focused our energy, what topics have come up in meetings, what seems to have like resonated with certain residents. And really like where the passions within the committee lie, because it's much easier for us to get traction and do the work, right? When somebody's willing to say, hey, this means a lot to me, I will run with it. And so we had come up with a list that we all kind of collectively decided, and it's been a work in progress since. So I want to say that even within, I think it's been like probably this calendar year where we really started to get serious of like, let's look at our goals and start working them. Because in past years, I think we haven't been as focused in terms of outlining up front what we want to work on. And so then when we go to do our letter of recommendations, it's always like, oh, okay, well, what did we achieve, right? And so, I mean, granted, there's always stuff that we have done, but this year we really wanted to be purposeful about anchoring to something. And so it's just been a work in progress about all the things that have come up. And that's why, like, I'll say we are always open to entertaining new things as well. If you're thinking of something that you think is really important for us to be helping to drive. Nothing's off the table.
Because one of the things that I would like to see us do is, I know that in environmental, we like to get caught in bans, right? And that I would like to see us to do more proactive things, not just because I find that it leaves, if you're not, if you were not the kid leading the Earth Day festival when you were 10, like I was, right? You're not going to be as enthusiastic about these bans. But if we could find ways to do things that people can actually grasp onto it, like gardens. Like I was just wondering, like, like pollinator gardens, rain gardens, doing more about rain barrels, those sort of things if you had thought about, or I know Transition Framingham is moving into doing more about community gardens. So where's your thought process on that?
I don't think that they've been topics that we have discussed deeply within this body. I mean, they have been some of the things that, like, we had an old poster board that we had a bunch of just random trivia, right? So we talked a lot about like pollinators and just various things. That was part of our Earth Day Festival table. I think, yeah, I mean, Amy, why don't you jump in?
The other consideration is that there are multiple bodies, all those collaborators we wanted to work with. Agricultural committee is very interested in gardening and farms. The bicycle pedestrian and trails committee is very interested in trails and space. And so we are too, but they have a more maybe defined area, whereas we're a little bit, it's less sustainability is what definition you make of it.
Right.
So we're trying to not duplicate. If they were able to have it, for example, if there's a great initiative that someone has from one of those committees, I think we would be willing to consider collaboration in support of that. You remember that? Think about that.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously we haven't settled with them what we plan on doing, but yeah.
So there is a proposal for something proactive.
that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you guys have not been proactive, that's not what I'm saying.
No, that's fine,
Yeah,
that's fine.
okay.
There is a difference between a spin of a negative, let's prevent harm, and let's do something that promotes well-being.
Yeah.
And so, Larry had made contact with this group Crew a number of years ago. They have funding to do a de-paving project and plant what's the name of the forest?
Why up?
Oh, the Japanese.
Yes, the Japanese forest.
Yeah.
It's a microforest essentially.
Yeah.
That grows very rapidly because of the intentional way it's planted. Miyawaki. That's,
Yeah.
yeah, you had it. And so they are interested in partnering with the sustainability committee. We've not had a chance to discuss that as a committee.
Yeah.
And we were gonna put it on the agenda for the next meeting, seeing as we were meeting with all of you tonight. But that's on the radar and I think would be a fabulous project.
Yeah, see, that's the stuff.
Ideal.
I'm really interested in that, like, again, not taking away from anything that's on your plan. That's the sort of stuff I'm really interested in.
Yep.
Can you just interrupt, how's that the purview of the city council?
Well,
I'm
think-
pro supporting it, but I'm not convinced that like a deep paving in a small area is necessarily within.
Well, you can definitely the city council could do an ordinance about a deep paving program. Is a possibility, or it is just also supporting the work of the sustainability commission.
Somerville has been really involved in this, so if you were looking to see what the interface between Crew and a city is, Somerville would be a good place to do some research. If you want, I can reach, so Crew is part of Better Future Project, which also happens to be the umbrella group over 350 Mass, so
Yeah.
I have a pretty good connections with those folks in conversation. If you really want, I can reach out to them and ask them what their interface with Somerville is, because I know they've done a lot of projects in Somerville itself.
Yeah, I mean, I did talk to them at one point when they were looking at areas in Framingham, and we had a long conversation and I'm totally supportive of the work they're doing. I'm just not sure how it would be in the, like, that you would work closely with them, that Sean would work, like city staff. That it would be very much a city project. I guess I'm just not clear where the,
I think
Like
some,
the
I think some of what's happened in Somerville is city property that is not doing anything. Like has old pavement in it, they've helped take it up and revitalize the area.
so that's DPW or Sean.
Yeah, it's something I think that, could be discussed at the city council level and, a resolution or a letter or something, like, I just think it's something, things like this is something we should be exploring.
I'll send Rachel something tonight and ask her, Rachel Boyce is one of the coordinators for Crew. And ask her what their relationship is with the Somerville government.
Thanks, Brian.
Any other topics you guys are thinking about where we think we would need city council's help, or any areas where you all think you can help lean in?
I'll say, I think that the tree ordinance, to me, I know you guys have been talking about it for a while. I feel like when I first got onto council, you guys were talking about it. So I'd love to move that forward. Did you say you had a template, Sean?
Yeah, the DOER offers a template, which I've downloaded and I've looked over in the past, and yeah, so I have it, but I haven't put any work into it. I haven't come up with one yet, so.
Okay, to me, that feels very doable and very much in the realm of something that, like, passing an ordinance is.
Sure, I have actually talked to John about it and he is in favor of it too. He's willing to help me with the legality and the legal, the litigious part of it, how to write it up. He said I just needed to get him the information, so that's why I'm making sure you guys know all about it now too, so.
Yeah, and I think that that's also something that arguably we could even take on as a subcommittee.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
That would be my question is, in terms of process, do you want us to put something together and hand it off to you? Do you all wanna take it and work together on it? Just if you're interested in it, being clear about process will be helpful for me at least.
Yeah, I don't necessarily, I think that's part of understanding
Yeah.
what exists so far,
Okay.
so.
Sure.
If all that exists so far is the DOER template, then like we can sort of move forward from there, but it wasn't clear to me if you've done research on other communities or.
Yeah, a couple, as far as like Cambridge and Boston are very much larger and they're kind of like more, a lot further along than we would want to be right now with ours, because we're just introducing ours. So that's why I was recommending Newton was more like one I should look at as far as adopt, looking how we should adopt ours towards theirs. But ours will be very specific to what we want too. So the template's kind of wide open, so it's basically we really need to focus on what we want to focus on. Like, what is important to us? Is it like saving the large tree? Is like, because it can be very overwhelming. So we just so to start with, it's good to have a few areas that we're really kind of concerned about, or we know about, that we should be watching.
And do you have a sense of what those topics are, whereas you could poll your committee and say, these are our top 3 priorities, this is what we want the focus of our tree ordinance to be?
Not exactly, but in the past, I've heard about the things happening like at Chopper's World where they cut down a whole swath of trees and things and no one even knew about it till afterwards, and like, so they didn't have to ask. So it was like people were concerned that they didn't have to ask anyone to do that, or that maybe someone knew, but not enough people knew what was going on where people were concerned. So honestly, I don't know. That's why I want to bring it up, is to see, maybe get some help on where do we really want to focus it? You know what I mean? And I can look into where we should do it if people don't have any, but I wanted to just see if anyone had any thoughts on it right now themselves.
So can I just ask a question? Sure. Were you think, because admittedly, I've started researching this as well, which is why I was excited to hear from you. Are you looking at also the Newton part where if you take down a tree, you have to plant a tree somewhere else?
Yeah, that's always something that I think should be part of this. Like you should be planting more than you take down, because it takes like 100 little trees to really reach, say, 1-2 foot large tree if you take it down. I mean, so it's nice to plant more than one, but at least a 1-for-1 or something along those lines. Definitely, yeah.
Isn't the main problem private property? And how you deal with a homeowner or a property owner and a tree ordinance? I mean, I don't understand that.
Know what the problem is. I don't think we should be in the weeds of what it's gonna be, to Amy's question, if it's about process. So like, without, is it about private property? Is it about replanting trees? I think, Sean, it's if you're the one on this committee who's sort of done stuff, and it sounds like Mary Kate's also has, like, what you have.
Sure.
Like, I am telling you, there's energy to move this forward.
And
So-
I'll tell you, it's gonna encompass of like maybe all those 3 things, right? It's not gonna just be one of them. It'll be like replanting, if you take down, and then what trees you can take down on a private property, what size you have to basically get a review for to see if you can take it down. There's all different parts of it, so they all are gonna be.
So I would encourage you, without getting into the legalese and the language,
Yep.
if you have your priorities and you know what you wanted to say, is that something, like, how soon could you sort of offer that up and maybe merge it with what Mary Kate's got? Do you have a comment, Brett?
If she is like, I don't have any of the specifics, so I would be starting fresh to find out exactly like what the specifics would be. So if you have something, then we can work.
We can work on.
Yeah.
Work on together.
Yeah, so if you already have like any of that, then that would be a good start. Yeah.
Yeah, just so my own thoughts on it, I would be interested in seeing the language of what other communities have done, and maybe we could put together some type of a menu of options. I know for me personally, I don't know I think it was a planning board meeting recently in your neighborhood, or around a tree that was getting cut down, or was it a ZBA meeting? Do you know what I'm talking about? There was a tree on the corner. I think
Union Ave and Lincoln, they did take down a tree, but that wasn't recent that came in front. Union Ave and Warren, sorry, at that
it was
light.
Grant and something. I don't. We think I found the conversation a little problematic.
Oh, Mansfield and Grant.
Yeah, that this tree was potentially damaging someone's house and they weren't able to make, whatever. There needs to be, at least in my opinion, I'm just one opinion, there's a full city council, so someone could draft the strongest tree preservation ordinance and it could still pass the city council. But for me, I would want to see some options for homeowners to have some say and control over what's happening on their property with trees, so.
Okay, so I guess Aaron's let you know that to me feels like something that there's sort of shorter term energy to move forward. from
Amazing,
this
and I
subcommittee.
think Sean, I think you and Mary Kate can just start partnering together on that. If you need any support from the committee. Let us know, but we would love to accelerate whatever we can.
Sounds
We
good.
got it.
Brandon, do you have any questions or general? Nothing?
I guess the only thing I would say is, and maybe it's just a continuation of what I just was just kind of getting at, that anytime there's something suggested here where there's things that we're seeing other communities doing that are either things to copy or to slightly different, I think that's really helpful, just because there's real live examples of things that communities or steps communities are taking. So like, not all of these things here I'm like, that I'm like, like incredibly, like I know I'm supportive of, but like, if we get some language, then we can we think about them? So yeah, I guess that's my one kind of like, when I'm thinking about whether it's where other communities are doing more with their composting programs, where other communities are doing more with reducing plastic use or styrofoam use or NIPA, whatever the idea might be, where other communities are doing it. I think that's helpful.
Not specifically on this topic. Do you guys have anything else you want to raise? On this topic?
Other priorities, all those questions.
I'll ask one question, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, what, have you, any thoughts about the Sudbury River? Like.
I didn't make that sound out. I have another comment, but continue here.
But just, have you, anything in the action plan or that you're looking about Beaver Brook Dam, Sudbury River? Any of those, okay.
That has not been discussed.
Brandon, did you want to say something?
So excited.
About the Sudbury River?
No,
Not?
it has nothing to do with the Sudbury River.
All right, we'll keep on, it's not about the Sudbury River.
One thing that jumped out to me is like, I mean, obviously there's some talk about, net zero and, school and like building municipal construction and renovation projects, but there's really no mention of solar panels, which is such a huge conversation, especially during election season. And so hopefully not just during election season is what I'm getting at. And so I don't know, I think that's something we should be talking more about, like how do we drive that forward? Because I don't know what necessarily the holdup is. Like people talk about whether the roof's ready for it or not. They'll talk about whether we're owning them or not. Like, let's just pick a path or pick multiple paths and start moving. So
There's a bill that just was passed the House that still has to be on, go through the Senate and then to get to the governor's office, but it has significant amount of issues around solar and municipalities. And it also created the first municipal light organization for energy in 100 years. So there's a lot of things going on and that will, if that bill passes, some of it good, some of it bad, but it will affect a lot of the conversation we just had, especially about renewable energy and transmission.
I want to respond to that and just say, we have talked about solar a lot as this committee, and I don't remember off the top of my head why we didn't include it here, except for it as one of our goals. Does anyone remember that?
Because it kind of boiled down to money.
Yeah, I think that, and we knew we're in a tough money year.
Yeah, we're very, very curious as a committee over the issue of the Farley building. And what's happening there, because that solarization of that Farley building would key the whole area being a net microgrid. And then who owns the network after the project's over? All kinds of questions, but those have come up in this committee, but they just weren't reflected in this report.
I know it's different for maybe, I don't know, maybe it is different, maybe it is different, like, I know so many people and friends who have good houses for it that are putting it up at no cost. Now, I get that, like, they don't necessarily own the infrastructure, there may be some downsides I'm not always seeing, but like.
We can, so something I'm thinking about would be maybe to invite Lincoln Lynch, Director of what Finance and Administration for the schools, and ask what I think he is.
Can I make one more comment here?
And all of the solar panel projects.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just schools though.
Right.
Sure. It's not
I think our government was counting on the Inflation Reduction Act being around a lot longer than it is now. It was due to the current administration. So a lot of this could have been put off, not necessarily on the hot button. And then the regime changed, and all the incentives to owning the thing by municipalities were largely erased unless it was already in process. So that has altered the whole solar conversation tremendously.
Can I ask you a question, Sean?
Is it about solar?
Yes,
Okay.
staying on the same topic. No ADHD right now. This is what you might probably say, but do you know, is there a wider plan? Solar plan has the city, or have you looked at bundling, bids, to help move this forward? I'm sure you have a lot to say, so I'll just let you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that question. I think so we looked at doing kind of like a phased procurement for multiple, like, taking our portfolio of eligible buildings, let's go out and kind of get the best pricing that we can. I think some of the challenges are, I think, as mentioned, it really comes down to underlying infrastructure, whether that's ready to support it. There definitely are, especially for like, you'll hear about that for private homeowners, right? You can get solar, we'll do your roof for free. This is a great opportunity for you to do it. I think the challenge we see is like using a school building as an example. The solar can bring in a lot of value, whether it's a power purchase agreement, you're owning it outright. If you're owning it outright, you're paying for the capital cost up front. If that building needs a roof, the projects that we're seeing, and I don't want to speak for Lincoln Lynch and team, but just for my discussions, it's not just replacing the membrane over the roof, you're doing a lot of structural stuff. The cost of those projects are in the millions, and it on an individual basis can dwarf kind of the benefits of the solar. That being said, it still needs to be done. It's not like it's a negative that gets paired with the solar. You need to do the roof. And so it makes sense to put on solar. And so I think the approach has been, especially for Farley, that's about 75% of the way through the design process, which is a really unique project accounting for like solar, battery storage, backup generation for the facility. That's in process. And then I'll just comment too, because it's a great point Larry brought up about tax credits, right? Like, I think that's been a huge thing that going into that legislation coming out was like, okay, the city is eligible for these investment tax credits that it wasn't really eligible for before, and this is adding a huge amount of value. But now those are going away. And so we are looking at for facilities that are ready, how can we do that? So for example, we just completed the roof at the DPW headquarters. So that's kind of, I think those projects are the ones in this interim period, while it's still available, we are looking at and seeing how we can advance things. I think ultimately for buildings where the roofs are not available, or for example, we anticipate there being a strong need for stormwater infrastructure upgrades. It's tough to kind of slot those in after, you do a major project there. And so it's just trying to find the time. And I'll say this too, past projects we've done at the schools really have been focused on, like, there was a stormwater upgrade that was approved through capital planning. All right, this is the time. That happened at Brophy. That was actually one of the huge things. It's like, we got to get this done for a permit there. This is the time to put in the canopy as they're working on the underground infrastructure. So I think that's been our approach so far. I think we started in a place where it's like, let's start putting our buildings in these categories of like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. I think we found it was so difficult because getting certainty as to like when exactly roofs might be funded, and then knowing that you could go and do the solar at that point. I think we're going to try to bundle what's ready now and see what we can advance while we have some of this, federal funding opportunity.
Donna, did you want to add something?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, we have in our annual reports, we have often talked about having parking lots and new roofs be solar ready. So I'm not sure why wasn't in our goals, because it certainly has always been. So thank you for bringing that to our attention, because I think it should be added in whatever context we've had it before. But also the climate action plan. I mean, doesn't that have as a part of our plan more solarization, Sean? Like, isn't that something we're working on even in the net zero plan? Like, I'm just a question, that we're always working towards this in these other larger scale, big picture projects.
Yeah, so definitely in our climate action plan for our actions in the energy category, of course, like adding solar to municipal facilities. There's also some resiliency objectives that tie in with this, like how can we develop resilience hubs in the community that use clean energy, solar, battery storage, things like that. And then I guess that's a great point, Donna. Also the decarbonization planning, right? We'll provide some of that longer term outlook along with the electrification. How do we plan for clean energy projects in the long term? So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Sean. Other questions, comments, priorities? Things to say?
Yeah, Donna.
Yeah, so I mean, I love the ideas that have come from you and Mary Kate, lots of really passionate ideas that I would say that we are so open to hearing what else you think we could be focused on and working on. So I just want to put that out there as an invitation to, share with all of us or one of us anything that you think we should bring forward to be working on as a committee. We're here for you to do that.
Thanks, Donna. No, anything else?
All right, amazing. So I think we can move on to the next agenda item. So I know for our committee, and then you might have some too, but we have some minutes approvals. So would entertain a motion for our, I think it was February 25th minutes. Yes.
I move that we accept the minutes.
Second.
All right, sorry. Moved by Larry, Amy got it under the wire for a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, no discussion. We'll do a quick roll call vote. Erin, yes. Amy,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Sam,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yeah.
Dawn,
Yep.
Donna,
Yes.
Deb.
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
Awesome. So we had minutes from 6/23/25, which I'm going to propose get posted as draft minutes.
I'll make that motion that we are posting them as draft minutes.
Awesome.
Not approved.
You can post minutes as draft minutes. I mean, this committee wasn't on there, like it just
Okay.
doesn't make any sense to me.
That's fine.
So I would second that motion. So we'll do a roll call vote. I'll vote yes. Mary Kate?
Yes.
Brendan?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. And with that, I would take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Awesome,
Second.
awesome. So we'll do a roll call vote and then y'all can do your thing. So I'll vote yes. Mary Kate?
Yes.
Brandon?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd also love a motion.
Motion for sustainability committee to adjourn.
Second.
All right, discussion? No, roll call. Erin, yes. Amy,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Sam,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yep.
Dawn,
Yep.
Donna,
Right.
Deb.
Yes.
All right, 8:31 joint session adjourned. Thank you all.